Hi there, I'm David from DB Chartered Accountants. One of the first major decisions you will have to make as you start a new business is the form of legal entity that it will take. To a large degree, this decision may be dictated by the way you have organised your operations and whether you intend to work on your own or in conjunction with others. The form of entity you choose can have a significant impact on the way you are protected under the law and the way you are affected by taxation rules and regulations. There are 4 basic forms of business organisation. Each has its own benefits and drawbacks and is treated differently for legal and tax purposes. These are sole proprietorships, partnerships, limited liability partnerships, and limited companies. In this video, we'll consider partnerships. Sole traders and limited company will be dealt with in separate videos. In a partnership, 2 or more individuals join together to run the business enterprise. Each of the individual partners has ownership of the partnership assets and is jointly and severally responsible for liabilities, as well as having the authority in running the business. The authority of the partners and the way in which profits or losses are to be shared can be modified by the partnership agreement. The responsibility for liabilities can also be modified by an agreement amongst the partners, but partnership creditors typically have recourse to the personal assets of all the partners for settlement of partnership debts. The rights, responsibilities and obligations of partners are typically detailed in a partnership agreement. It's always a good idea to have such an agreement for any partnership. A partnership is a legal entity recognised under the law, and as such, it has rights and responsibilities in and of itself. A partnership can sign contracts, can obtain trade credit, and can borrow money. When a partnership is small, most banks and sometimes creditors require a personal guarantee of the general partners for credit. A partnership is also required to file an income tax return, although a partnership typically does not pay income tax. The information from the partnership tax return is allocated to the individual partners, who combines this with their personal income to determine their overall tax liability as an individual. A limited liability partnership offers limited liability to its members, but like a traditional partnership, is tax transparent and offers flexibility in terms of its internal organisation. An LLP is a separate legal entity from its members, therefore it may enter into contracts and deeds, can sue or be sued, and grant floating charges over its assets in its own name. This avoids the problem that exists in relationship to ordinary partnerships, where technically it is often necessary for every partner to be party to certain documents or litigation, and the creation of a floating charge is not possible. The members of the LLP are those persons registered at Companies House as members. These members can be individuals, limited companies, or even another LLP. The main price paid in return for this limited liability is public availability of financial statements. An LLP must file accounts annually at Companies House the same way as a limited company. In addition, the LLP must also file details of the name and address of every member at Companies House. At least 2 members must be designated members, responsible for making proper filings at Companies House, and subject to penalties in the event of default. Provided an LP carries on a trade or a profession and is not simply an investment vehicle, it is tax transparent. That is, the LLP itself doesn't pay tax on its income or capital gains. Instead, the members are taxed on their shares of the LLP's profits and gains, just as partners in an ordinary partnership are currently taxed. Up until the 6th of April 2014, all members of an LLP were taxed as self-employed individuals. However, from the 6th of April 2014, certain members, mainly those receiving fixed profit shares, are now required to be taxed as employees with PAYE and Class 1 National Insurance contribution, both employees and employers, being payable on their remuneration from the LLP. LLPs were primarily intended for use by the professions. However, any type of business operating for profit may use an LLP. An LLP may be suitable for use as a joint venture vehicle or as an alternative to a limited company, particularly for small businesses. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of partnerships? There are usually no formation costs, although with a partnership it's always advisable to have a partnership agreement. Partnerships are not required by law to file accounts for inspection unless they're LLPs. Thus their financial standing can be kept confidential. A partner in a partnership is liable to the full extent of its liabilities, unlike a limited company which can restrict this. Operating as a partnership, rightly or wrongly, projects an image of being small and does not carry the prestige that a limited company can offer. Partnerships don't provide any control over the amount that the partners are taxed upon. All the profits allocated to them are taxable at their full marginal tax rates. The tax is usually payable in instalments on the 31st of January within the tax year and the 31st of July following the tax year. If you're a startup business, then you will need to save for your tax liability to ensure that you have money available to pay the tax. Partnerships have an advantage if losses are anticipated in the first year. The startup losses in the first 4 years can be set against other income of the same tax year, or be transferred to the 3 previous years, resulting in a tax refund. Personally, I don't like partnerships. Limited companies provide greater tax control and limited liability protection. Thus, we can't see why one would prefer a partnership rather than operating as a limited company. We will deal with limited companies in a later video. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you are notified when new videos are uploaded. Bye for now.